Welcome back to We Care a Lot. I'm your host, Mel. I do not currently have my co-host, Samantha Lowe, but she will be having an episode on Friday, so please go check that out when that comes. Today I'm alone, and we decided to do solo episodes. We decided to do this because initially I was supposed to record this episode the week that we got back from Coachella, but unfortunately for me, it turned out to be a very busy work week, so I didn't have time to do it, but it kind of all just worked out because I'm having like very visceral feelings about the things that I want to talk about, and so it just feels a lot more attuned to the time. Anyway, I just want to thank Sam because she's going to edit this episode for me. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. But yeah, so some of the things I just kind of want to like talk about in this little solo episode is it's my birthday on Monday. It's currently Friday, the 26th. And it's the day before we like celebrate my birthday with some friends. And I'm feeling very loved this year. I always say that like I want to keep my birthday very like low key or like just not do a whole lot. Somehow I always end up fucking celebrating it for a whole weekend or some shit. So now we're here. I'm celebrating tomorrow, like I said, with some friends. We're gonna go out. Well, actually, Logan has some plans for me in the morning, like afternoon time. And then in the evening to night to probably early morning, we're going to be celebrating with some friends and my brother. I think he's coming into town. So we're all just going to go out drinking, have a pregame here before, and it'll be fun. But like I said, I just feel really loved this year. I just feel like everyone's just down for the cause. And I mean, not that everyone isn't before, like hasn't been before, but it just feels like everyone's just like, yeah, let's all just like hang out and have a good time. And I just have like a very random array of friends, and I feel like they're all very excited to be with one another. And it's like, oh, like adults know how to like hang out. I don't know, like that's the best way I could put it. It's just like I always used to get nervous about like certain friends not getting along with other people, and I'm just like, we're too old for this. Like I can't be thinking about that anymore. Like, you know, we're all adults. We can manage. You can hang out, you know, if you can't start a conversation and if you can't hold a conversation, I guess you can come talk to me. I don't know. Anyway, I'm turning 27. It's just kind of wild. I don't know. I just feel like Sam and I just recorded an episode today talking about how it is going to be the 10-year reunion of our high school reunion next year. And it's like been 10 years since we've been out of high school. And that's just kind of completely insane. It's just interesting because I definitely feel older. Like I obviously don't feel 17, but I just feel like, where did the fucking years go? Like I can still kind of like reverse into what my brain and headspace was doing at that time, but I can't like, and I can empathize, but I can't feel it anymore. It doesn't feel like that's really me anymore. It's like, it's almost like I can watch a movie of myself almost. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's like 17 turning 27. It's wild. Life has changed so much, and I feel like more drastically things have changed in the last like couple of years in my life. I feel like 17 to like 20, 17 to like 19, I felt pretty like similar. And then 20 to like 24, I felt very much the same. And then I don't know what the fuck happened to 25 and 26. And now I'm fucking 27. Like, it's wild. It's really crazy. The years are flying by and I'm growing up. We're all growing up. It's really crazy. I just think about how I'm like 3 years away from being 30. And I used to always be like, I can't wait till I'm 30. And I still think that way. I just feel like it's coming a lot faster than I thought it would. I thought that my 20s would be a lot longer. And of course, they're not over, but they're coming to an end. Like, they really are. And soon enough, like, I'm just going to blink and I'm going to be 35 and life will have moved on. And it's baffling to me, quite honestly. On like a funnier note, I feel like the year of 26 was very much, I was talking to Logan, it was very much like my Taylor Swift year, which if you're not a Swiftie, totally fine. I get it. Well, I don't get it, but I get it. I was so like enthralled into like, I was just like really like put my headspace into her little brain, not her little brain, but her brain. I don't know. I think 26 was a very much like learning more about me and my queerness year. Like, obviously I've been in a queer or like lesbian relationship for so long now. Oh my god, it's like literally almost all of my 20s. I'm sorry, that just like took me back right now. Like, I was like, holy shit. Yeah, Logan and I have been together for so long, and so I just feel like, of course, like, you know, you're fucking gay, right, bitch? Like, you know. But I feel like, I'm sorry, I'm still like shook for some reason. That's just crazy to me. Anyway, let me get emotional. I feel like this year, though, like, I very much learned more about myself and my queerness. And in the last like solo episode, I talked a little bit about like compet, and it's just something that's so real, and I still like don't fully understand where I like lie in it all, but I definitely learned. And I don't know if any of you listen to other podcasts, especially queer podcasts. There's a podcast called X's and O's with Shannon Beveridge. I think that's her last name. She has like such a cool name. She was like one of the most like popularized like lesbian YouTubers of like the YouTube space when, you know, everything was popping off. And anyway, her podcast is great. You should go listen to it if you're looking for like a queer like lens podcast. But she was talking about something with somebody. I'm not even being like literally, I'm being so vague. But she was talking about how she's like thirsty for representation. Oh, I know who she was talking about. She was talking to, what's her name from The Bachelorette, or The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, the one that ended up being queer, Gabby. She was talking to her, and they were talking about like how, you know, when you're first coming out or like you're getting really comfortable in your queerness, like you're so thirsty for representation. And I think this year I realized how much like that was like so needed for me, not only like growing up, but just like also coming into my queerness and being in a queer relationship or just a lesbian relationship. It's been so comforting to like deep dive and really like indulge my brain into all things queer. And I feel like that's what my 26th year of life was. And I know you're like, Taylor Swift, how does that fucking add up? Well, if you're not a gayer, then you won't understand. But there's like this whole facet of like the internet, or just like the Swiftie fandom, that believe that she's queer. And I'm not saying she's a lesbian, I'm just saying she's queer and has had like lesbian situationships or relationships. And it's almost like once you hear the queer code in her songs, you can't unhear it. And almost everything else, like, I'm not denying that she's had relationships with men or heterosexual relationships, but it's really difficult to unhear and unlearn like the queer codes in her music. And whether or not it's actually true that she's queer, it's just so interesting that so many queer people can align with it. It's just wild. I don't know. Anyway, that really jump started like this like need for me to need like that kind of space in like media and music and podcasts. Like, I've really been like delving into queer podcasts, specifically lesbian podcasts. There's another podcast called Made It Out. And I just feel like, yes, there's so many like queer things now, but I just feel like it's still not the same representation that heterosexual people get. And yes, we live in 2024 and it's much more progressive, but it's just like not, it's almost not enough. It's not enough. It'll never be enough, I don't think, until we're finally seen as, you know, normal people and we don't have to be coming out anymore. I don't feel like it's ever going to be really, and at least not in my lifetime. I hope maybe in my lifetime, but I don't think it'll ever be like that specifically fulfill the need. So like it gets really exciting when you have things like a huge pop star, the biggest pop star in the world, have queer coded music. And it feels like a secret. And I feel like there's something alluring of that, like because of that. But then it's really also really fucking nice to have your Renee Raps and your Chapel Roans, you know. It's fucking awesome to be a growing adult. I don't want to say like a grown up, but like a growing adult and having these outlets for self-expression and understanding and like relatability to queerness. It's really awesome. I don't know what else to say, but it's just really cool. And I feel like that's really where my 26th year of life has been. It's just like getting really like comfy in my skin, in my queer skin. I feel like with it comes like a lot of hardship too. A lot of realities have set in about my queerness. Not that I have a problem with, but like other people's perspectives of me. And it hurts my feelings, I'm not gonna lie. But at the end of the day, I'm not changing for anybody. And I'm really happy with my life right now. And I don't need anyone else's validation for it. It just sucks when people don't want to have a relationship with you because of your sexual orientation. So stupid of me. But anyway, that's to 26, you know. Thank you so much for teaching me about my queerness and where I lie with it. I'm just so like proudly gay. I'm really proud of myself for saying that. I'd never thought that, like, going back to like talking about 17-year-old me, like obviously like you always knew you were gay, but I never thought that I would like allow myself to explore that. It feels like a fucking cage, and like not like a cage that you necessarily like feel like you want to break out of necessarily. I mean, yes, but like it felt comfy. It felt like this is all I know and this is all what, you know, I might know for the rest of my life, and that's okay. But it's been so awesome to like free myself out of that box. It's been so fucking cool. So if anyone's like listening and like questioning their sexuality, I literally encourage you to explore yourself and explore the depths of you. Because for me, like learning about my queerness has really not only like opened up like things about like my sexuality, but just genuinely like who I am as a person. It's made me like think about the things that I deeply care about and the ways that I want to self-express and the art that I want to make, the connections that I want to make, the people that I want around me. It's really been just like incredibly eye-opening. And I can't say anything else. Like, love being queer. Yeah. I mean, in similar news, or like, here's a segue. I'm thinking about going back to therapy. Any thoughts on that? Anyone else? I've been out of therapy now for, I think, at least a year. My therapist had graduated me out of therapy. I definitely didn't feel like done because I feel like life continues to bring you hardship and shit to talk about in therapy. But I definitely was like, yeah, maybe I should take a break, see how I feel on my own. And quite honestly, I've had a lot of difficult times. But at the same time, I've really learned how to self-soothe. Not that I didn't before, but like actually self-soothe and exploring my feelings in a way that like I have to deeply understand why I'm moving the way that I'm moving, or, you know, talking or expressing or fighting just like, why am I feeling these things? And I'm not saying that I can't handle that on my own anymore. I can. I just feel like I have more work to do. I think like with me coming to the place that I am with my queerness and everything like that, there's a lot that like I don't feel like I could fix necessarily, like about other people's perspectives of me, but I feel like I want to learn how to move through it in a more effective and healthy way. I'm not expecting other people to come to their senses, but at the same time, like, how can I move forward? I don't know. I also just feel like aging has really brought up a lot for me in terms of like familial relationships. And also, if you didn't listen to the podcast episode with Katie being our guest, I think this was like now 2 weeks ago in your time, we talked about being diagnosed with ADHD and, you know, her deciding to be on medication. And that conversation was something that was huge in my therapy sessions leading up to my graduation, is like, there's a possibility that if you want to take medication, that could be super helpful. And it all stemmed from the fact that right before I ended my therapy, I diagnosed myself with PMDD. And I feel like it's still super, super prevalent for me. And I struggle a lot with keeping and maintaining motivation. And I just have like these very dark thoughts. Sorry if you can hear the helicopter. We live in LA. But I have like a lot of deep, dark thoughts. And sometimes they feel like outside of my own like jurisdiction. And I just feel like if there's a better way to maintain that, then that's great. Going back to a podcast I listened to, the lesbian podcast, Made It Out. Actually, Shannon's ex, Cami. Crazy. I mean, if you know, you know. If you don't, then you have no idea what I'm talking about. But Cami was talking about how she also self-diagnosed herself with PMDD and how she went to her psychiatrist and therapist and asked them if there was a way to like manage it, and they put her on some depression medication for just specifically the time right before. So like, anyway, I don't need to explain it like fully, but like she just got like medicated for like a certain period of time in her cycle, and it was helping, but then it just like wasn't enough. And then she realized that, you know, if she just took it full time, she would have a better chance of healing like fully through the things that, you know, are happening. I mean, PMDD is not necessarily curable, but the depression aspect is, I don't know, hard. I don't know where I stand with all of it. For myself personally, I'm very much like pro do whatever the fuck you want and whatever helps you. But I don't know, some months I have really like an easy time, and then other months are really difficult leading up to my menstrual cycle. It's crazy. It's just crazy that we have to like, as adults, as a 27-year-old, I have to like think about all of these different facets and how to have the most like high functioning life, because sometimes for weeks on end, I just want to rot on the fucking couch and cry and feel helpless and don't want to do anything. And I don't know that that's like everyone's life. Sometimes I convince myself that that's just the way that life is. And then I'm like, oh, but maybe not everyone's living that way, girl. And you shouldn't just accept it. So that's kind of where I'm at. But yeah, medication. If you're on medication, please let me know how it's going for you. I love hearing everyone's perspectives, whether it's like, you know, you've had a lot of cons to it, or if you're feeling very different in a positive way. I just like to hear all ends of the spectrum. But yeah, to circle back from my previous solo episode on purpose. That sounds like the podcast On Purpose. No, like my thoughts on purpose. I feel very good with what I said in that episode of like just taking it day by day, moment by moment. And that really is what purpose is. I think a lot of the time I really want more for myself, and that's the frustrating piece. But at the same time, I'm extremely happy with like the freedoms and the things that I have currently. And I'm trying to just lean in towards that. And with like any like ounce of frustration that I have with like wanting more from myself, I am taking that now and putting it towards a dream that I have, or even just like a silly thought that I have to, I don't know, like for example, we talked about making bathing suits. Like that's something that I'm really passionate about at the moment. I feel like I kind of want to make like a movie. Is that weird? That's like so much to say. And I haven't talked about it with anyone else besides myself and the camera right now. And now Sam, because she's going to see this first. But, or like some form of video media, and I'm not sure what the full idea is yet, but I kind of want to make something about like a coming of age story. Or I've had this like other idea of creating like a self-portrait series, just to like understand myself more, because I do think that, like I said, month to month it's different for me, and I kind of like end up feeling like not like a different person every month, but I feel like I'm continuously adding and then like sweeping away problems, and then like they come back, or like the ebbs and flows of life. And I think it'd be really interesting to see myself from that perspective and that lens, like mirrored back to me, I guess. I don't know. I also just want to make a movie, and I don't know what it'd be about, but yeah. I just like want to play, like 27 years of life, and now I just want to play. I want to write a song. I want to become a pop star. I'm like joking, but also not. You know what I mean? Like, I'm joking, but I'm not. Like, if it popped off, it popped off. That's just how I'm feeling. I don't know. I want to play. I want to be silly. I want to allow myself to dream big and play big and just take a chance on myself, because at this point it's like, well, why not? What else do you have to lose? Like, I don't know. And it's like all of these things are free ideas. I mean, sure, you can get really expensive and very specific, but all it takes really is my phone and my little brain. And for the song, I pen to paper. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just want to play. That's it. That's all I have, I think, for today. Also, if you didn't listen to our other episodes from last week, they were divine. But thank you for supporting the podcast. Thank you for being here and listening or watching. We absolutely appreciate it. And we're consistently just so, I don't know, I feel like the podcast, at least for me, and I'm pretty sure for Sam, just feels like a peaceful place, like a place of energized conversation and a place of free-flowing thought. And it's just been really nice. I don't know. It's the one place that I look forward to every week to just like honestly yap. I don't know. Like, I never thought that I would like to hear myself talk this much. That sounds awful, but it's true. Like, I really enjoy getting my thoughts out loud. Out loud. But anyway, again, thank you for supporting. Thank you for being here. Go ahead and subscribe to our pages wherever you're listening to, whether it's Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or any of the other platforms that this might be on. If you don't follow us on Instagram or TikTok, please go ahead and do that. Also, go follow our personal pages. Me and Sam are often together, but on the days that we're not, we're also doing things. Sam is a lot better at posting than I am. So if you're looking for consistent content, that's where you'll find it. And as for me, maybe I'll be playing on there more. After this episode, I'm feeling like invigorated. And yeah, it'll be 2 days after my birthday when this is posted. So happy birthday to me. Yeah, here's to 27, guys. And that's all I have to say. Bye.